Today we're going to go ahead and do the B6 size planner. I'm going to show you most of the planner. That's the paper line that I use. It's Boho Vibes from Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to pick out some of the papers for my cover. I'll be doing the cover. I'll be covering a journal. And what else am I going to be doing? I don't think I do too much. I mainly wanted just to do the cover itself. So I actually am working on 2 of these here, and I'm pulling out 4 sheets of paper because I need to do back and front. As you can see, it's only single-sided. I do have my laminating machine in the back heating up, and it's a Scotch brand, and I'm going to be using the laminating pouches. So here I'm going to be cutting it down to 7 inches. Now I lost my paper that I'm going to need with sizes. But it is directional paper for me. I wanted certain directions. That's the laminating pouches. So, I don't know what I'm doing here. So the cover, the paper should be about, if it's a 12-inch paper, you should cut it down to 11 1/8 by 7 1/4. And then when you laminate it, it's going to be slightly bigger because of the edge. So that's pretty much what I'm doing here, is cutting it down to that size. 11 1/8 is just small enough to fit into the pouch. You can't go any bigger than the size of the pouch. That's why I showed you the size of the pouch. And once I cut these and I'm going to glue them together, I laminate it. I skip to, I do a dashboard in here. I do a different kind of, and then I end up going back to the cover a couple of times, as I keep going. Like right now, all I'm going to do is just laminate it. I'm going to put it to the side, and then I'm going to work on something else. So I'm showing you that, but I don't use it right this second. So that's just to corner around, my points there. But I forgot I need to glue my papers together. So I pick out which ones I want, back to back. And then I'm going to glue it down. Now, I've learned that if you glue your paper, if you're going to use paper, or if you're going to use even fabric too, that you really want to cover it completely with your adhesive. Because once you laminate it and you fold everything, stuff buckles if there's space that has no glue sticking to it. So that's why now I broke out my stick glue, which I haven't used in a long time. And I stuck it all together, and I use my phone folder and just make sure it's all flat and down and no bumps or anything. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I go ahead and corner around my points with that crocodile, and I use the 3/8 size, I believe, of that. Let's see, I have it right in front of me. Yeah, the 3/8. I think that's the biggest one on that, but you can use any size you like, because there's a couple of different size crocodiles out there. I was picking out like a little glob of glue that was on there. Like I'm saying, I'm doing 2 covers here at the same time. And I'm just cutting any excess white area that I see, because I don't always lay it on perfectly. So, might slightly move over when I'm putting it down. So you want to cut it off before you laminate it so you don't see that white space. So I'm just taking them all together, and I'm going to round my corners. Alright, so this is after, this is when me putting them in the pouches. And I don't know why I took it out, but you slide it all the way to the other side that's not open. And you see there's a little bit of space on. You got to have some space in order for it to seal. So I'm putting it in the laminator right now, letting it go, and then I'm going to do the second one. And then I just show you after it's laminated. Now, I'm not going to trim any excess yet, but I'm just showing right there. I think I ran it in twice through my laminator. So now we're going to work on a different dashboard that I've never made before. That's using paper and then folding in half. You know, you're going to use paper on two sides of your laminating sheet, and you're going to leave some space in the middle. Only thing with this one is right here, as you can see, I was cutting 7 by 5. You should cut slightly shorter, like what I wrote there. I just missed it. And then because your lamination, it's going to make it bigger. So you want the finished laminated product to be 5 by 7. Well, 5 by 10, actually more than 10. You'll see me later putting 2 pieces down and leaving a space in the middle. That space should be bigger, and later on in the video you'll see why, but I'll explain it as we go here. So again, I'm doing 2 dashboards, so I need 4 pieces, and I'm backing them up because I want both sides to be patterned paper. But this time it didn't matter to put so much glue, just enough to hold it together. And then also I forgot to round my corners before I laminated it. So if you want them rounded, do that before you laminate. I forgot. So you're going to need 2 pieces for the one dashboard because it's going to wrap around a booklet. So here, this is where I should have given myself more space in between those. So I left about 1/4 of an inch. You should do at least 3/4 or even more so that it would wrap around a booklet. I did it so small that I could only wrap it around my little folder, which is very thin. Okay, so I ran it through the laminator. So now we're going back to the covers. And we're going to trim down all the excess there. And I think I already had done the dashboards as well. I just cut all the excess, but leave the middle together. You're going to be folding that. So see, there's space. You don't want to cut it all the way because there is like an air pocket, and if you do cut all the way, then it's just going to split open. And then you're going to cut with your scissors the round. You just follow the curve there and just cut, because you don't want that plastic, those points to be there. It'll poke. All right, and then I'm trimming also the dashboard. And remember, just make sure you make it slightly smaller, because once it's done, the lamination makes it bigger. And what I do later is just I cut little notches out in the middle so that my elastic kind of goes in it a little better. All right, so now we're going to cover one of those Dollar Tree journals that I had picked up. And I have a different method now of covering these things so they're a little more finished. They are plastic covers on that, so I do use, I was just showing the Dollar Tree one that you can, I mean the Target ones you can cut down, but anyway, the plastic covered ones you do want to use a more strong adhesive, so I used the permanent glue runner. And I was just picking out my pattern paper, and I had some scraps too, so that's what's going to go on the inside. And I pulled out all the paper that I needed for 2 booklets. I think I only show one, how I make one. And some of those are directional, so when I cut it down, I just make sure they're all in the right direction. And with the stripes, you want to, decide if you want your stripes going horizontally or vertically. Those composition books are the perfect size for the B6 Traveler's Notebooks, because they are already 5 by 7. Okay, so I made sure that they're all in the right direction, or I turn things to make sure they are. And and I'm going to be trimming it down to 7 inches, and I'm leaving the 12 inches, so it's going to be a 7 by 12 piece of paper. I just cut them all at once. I just don't know why I cut 4, because I only needed 2 covers, but anyway. So I crease it in half, but I don't make a what do you call it? I don't crease it too much. And I'm just running my glue runner on the plastic first, putting enough, and then a little bit there that's going to hit the spine, trying to make sure that it's all lined up, and just bring it down. And you'll see that there's overhang. I'm going to fold over those overhangs on the covers once I'm done doing this part. Okay, so now we're going to fold over that, little flaps there. So that's going to give me a clean edge, at least on those sides. And then I'm just going to cover the inside covers with another piece of paper, just using the scraps that I have. Okay, and I think I do have to trim a little bit. So here I'm looking for the pattern paper that I want to use on the inside. I think I just alternate and use different ones, because they're not all wide enough to fit the inside cover. So you need at least, because the covers themselves are about 5 inches, you need to be just slightly shorter than that. And then once I get the ones that are thick enough, I cut it down to 7 inches. It was a little too wide, so I just cut it down a little more. And now we're going to cover the inside. Okay, and I don't know if I do any more trimming, but I will be corner rounding again. Yeah, I do have to trim a little bit. It's just kind of hard, the angle that I have to do this in. Okay. I don't think I record myself, but I do end up using some gold tape on the binding part. And here I'm showing you how well, I didn't show you, but I was going to put that dashboard over it, but the space in the middle was just too thin. So I'm coming back to the cover because we need to do some creasing. I'm going to do some creases right in the middle, which is, I don't know. You just want to start one in the middle and then 3 on the sides, but they are 1/4 inch apart. So it's 7 lines starting with the center. But I had a hard time trying to figure out the center, and I ended up, I recorded it, and then now I don't know what the center was, but I know it wasn't 5.5. I think it was more than that. And I'm just using the edge of my table to help me with the creasing. And it's actually better to crease with the bone folder on the, what's that called? That board. After it's all been laminated. I found it, I have less issues with the paper coming apart and inside, you know, separating or anything. I just found it a lot better, although you got to push a lot, you know, put a lot of pressure. Here I'm trying to figure out why it's not right. Is because I put too many lines on one side. So I had to end up adding a line or 2 on the other side, because that's the first one. I didn't even show you when I was doing that because I didn't get my center right. But that one has probably 1 or 2 too many lines, but the other one was correct. It's 1 line right in the middle, and then 3 on the left and 3 on the right. So I'm using the 1/8 size punch on that crocodile, and we're going to be doing the holes for your elastic. 1 right in the middle, and you can kind of see how far apart I go. It's about 1/4 inch from the edge. So you do 1 in the middle, and then you go 1 on the left and 1 on the right, about 1/4 inch or further apart. And then you do that on the top and the bottom, and then put 1 right in the middle, which I don't measure, I just eyeball that. But I do follow the line that the other ones were on. You know, even when I measure, I never get it right. It actually comes out worse whenever I measure things. So the least measuring possible. So here I'm using the Hobby Lobby elastic in the gold, and I'm going to measure out about 32.5 inches to 33 inches of elastic. I don't like to waste, so 32.5 is actually the best. You only have to trim a little bit when you're done, but it gives you enough to, you know, do your threading and make your knot, and then you just can cut off whatever you need. So start with the middle, and then you're going to hold a piece and leave it, and you get the other end, and then you start threading. And I already have a tutorial on how I thread these, but you can kind of see where I'm going here. You do the left side first, then you run through the middle, and then go back up the same hole. You're going to keep following your line, you know, from the top right to the bottom right, back into the middle again, and then you end and meet up with that other piece, and then you just tie it and make a knot. And I do, I don't know, I was having issues with that, but I do cut a little bit off. Not a lot, because if you want to take it off and reuse it, you probably could. Okay, so now we're going to measure out about 15.5 inches to do the strap that goes around your little closure. Again, I don't like to waste, so that's about how much I like to use. And I still cut off a little bit, but I don't have to cut too much. So I didn't tie that knot too tight yet, because I'm going to put my booklets and see if I want to make it a little bit shorter or a little longer, because I don't want it to be too tight or too loose. So I just insert all the booklets that I have. Now I did make booklets off camera, and I did actually buy some printable inserts, some blank monthly and weekly digitals. Okay, and I'll try to remember to put the link from the Etsy shop that I got it from. So now that I know how tight I want it, I went ahead and tighten that knot, and I'm going to thread it through the middle hole. And that's pretty much it, people. So I don't share how I did the plastic pockets, but I might do another video for that. I think I have one, just not the size for this. All right, so we are done. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.